Your mountain time, but where are you?
Oh, I'm in Arizona.
Oh, okay.
All right. Hello, ladies. Here we go. We're going to go ahead and get started. Hello, listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Lead Up for Women, Speak Up to Lead Up. I'm super excited. This is episode number 142. And we're going to be diving in today, talking about all about Wonder Woman in the making. I'm sure you're excited and can only imagine what that is going to ensue. But before we get started, I wanted to thank our sponsor of today's show, Turning Leaves Recovery. Addictions, negative attachments, and habits that hold us hostage are all seated in a pressure to perform and a reliance on something outside of ourselves to provide peace, joy, comfort, relief, value, validity, and worthiness. Trisha Peridot, owner and creator of Turning Leaves Recovery Life and Wellness Coaching, is an industry thought leader, a recovery lifestyle enthusiast, transformational speaker, effective life skill breather, and fierce optimist who loves to help change lives. Her passion is to make life better for the people seeking life recovery, equipping them with the right life skills and helping them set the right aspirations so they can live life and live it freely in one amazing personal journey. She's combined her journey with addictions that span more than 30 years of her life with her 25 plus year recovery journey and in depth degree studies to create this intimate interaction experience designed to focus on life going forward. For her coaching, course, bundle programs, and more, visit her at www.turningleavesrecovery.com or call her direct line at 805 710 2513. Now back to the show. So I have with me just an amazing female who's had me on her podcast as well. We just had a wonderful hour conversation. I've gotten to know her a little bit better. Dr. Esmeralda Adami. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Let me tell you guys a little bit about her, and then I'm going to ask her to share a little bit more. But Dr. Esmeralda Adami has several degrees, including a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering and doctoral degree in Education Leadership from Lamar University. Her industry experience is in design, working for an engineering and architectural firm, and also possesses construction experience, which add up to over 12 years. She also possesses 17 years of teaching experience at the college level, including face to face, hybrid, lab, and online courses. Her teaching realm includes advanced manufacturer technology, welding, organizational leadership, and technology management. Wow, so impressive. Dr. Adami has served at various leadership roles, including associate professor, program chair, and assistant dean. She's been part of many committee task forces, leadership teams, and grant writing efforts for the National Science Foundation and the Texas Workforce Commission. I could go on, but let's just stop right there and relish in those accomplishments, which I have to tell you, Dr. Esmeralda, sometimes people tend to forget the wonderful accomplishments and the impacts they have made. Do you realize those accomplishments that you have and the impact that you've made on others?
Honestly, it's not until I hear it that I realize, oh yeah, I did that. But
Yeah.
it's just something that I guess we do every day. People that have the passion to impact others, especially because we do it because it's our passion. We just do it with because that's our purpose. And honestly, we end up getting an award or getting noticed. It's a plus, but we do it because that's our heart.
Yeah. And because of the impact that she's had, and we talked about this earlier, so many people are watching her. So many people are affected by her words, her actions, and what she teaches. And that's very impactful. So thank you. Now, Esmeralda, we know that you had a start somewhere, right? You had a life growing up as a child, as a daughter. When did you first really get into this world of teaching and of being on committees and boards? And when did that become a passion of yours?
Honestly, I didn't even know. My goal was to become an engineer one day, coming from a family of 13, having gone through different types of abuse and having all these other adversities. I just knew I wanted to be an engineer one day. And once I did, I mean, coming from a Hispanic background, being the first to go to college, having your mom saying, oh, mijita, don't study, you'll marry later, and the husband will support you. I was like, oh my gosh, like, the one person's right, people that are supposed to encourage you to go. But you fast forward, I become an engineer. And I knew I wanted to go out there and design, do something, change the world. And when I started teaching, I was like, well, I got the offer. I'm like, I don't think I want to teach. That's not for me. If I wanted to go teaching, I would have gone into teaching, not engineering. So you move on and start teaching, and I loved it. I loved it. I loved giving back. I love being in the classroom. I do a lot of mentoring, and that's when I realized that when people start calling, oh, can you help me with this? What do you think about this? What do you think about this advice? Being the Sunday school teacher for a while with the little ones, and then later with the youth, and then the juniors, I realized, you know what? This is what I like. This is what I love. This is what I think this is something that I'm good at, right? So that's just when it kind of went, and then you get somebody, oh, can you help me with this? Can you want to be part of this board? And that's when I realized that, you know what, this is my maybe this is what I'm meant to be do.
Yeah. And the teaching aspect is so crucial for us to share our experiences and our knowledge with others. And that's why I wanted to name this episode Wonder Woman in the Making, because I think about our children. I think about our grandchildren. I think about the young girls, the girls in junior high and high school and elementary school, and that generation that's coming behind us. And what are they seeing in today's world? What impacts is society and culture and social media and TikTok and all these things having on them? What is the pandemic doing, for them? What are your opinions on where we see the generation and those that you've been teaching, because you've actually taught, something along this lines back, when you were teaching at a program?
Yes, I my research with my doctorate degree was female in STEM, right? How could I get more females to be in this? How can I encourage? Because again, I had people around me that like, are you sure you want to do that? I know my dad again, not knowing my parents had what third and fourth grade education, elementary, right? So you would think it's about when my dad found out, he's like, why would you want to go fix cars? That's what his thought was. He didn't know what mechanical
Mhm.
engineering was, and it's still sad that a lot of people are not aware what it does or what is out there, right? So when I say, you know what, I'm going to go in there. How come we don't have that many females in STEM? How come they're not being successful when they complete and they don't finish the sciences, the biologies? When with all the research that I did, so one of the conclusions was that you need to start as low as second grade, as young as second grade, in a lot of things. And then another thing was, another finding of the research was, you need to have role models. So start early, having role models and having people to encourage you and be involvement. And of course, having that, not so much the role models, but people that actually mentor you. So all those
Mhm.
five or six came out. And really, if you think about it, Colleen, this is everywhere. This is in life. You need
Mhm.
to have mentors. I mean, if you're a young mom, go ask that. Maybe you don't want to ask your mom, right? Because you don't want to go to them. A lot of them don't have that advice, but don't take the advice from the mom. But you know what? Go out to an older lady that's or has a kid or two. If you think you want to be that engineer, that's why I started this mentoring circle. It's called the mentoring circle, where I get people that call and say, you know what? And I tell them, if I cannot help you, I will give you the contact that can. If there's nothing I can do, but it's crucial that our youngsters have mentors, that our community takes the role of having being that role model. Let's stop complaining of the generation that doesn't do anything, that feel entitled, they don't this, the stuff they're lacking, but let's start teaching them. Let's start teaching them, you know
Mhm.
what? Don't tell them, oh, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. You know what? Don't even mention the negative. You can tell, you know what, Michelle, how about this? How about this? Can you want to do this? How about this? How about that? Give them options. Let's give them that mentorship and that guidance that they need. Because I mean,
Yeah.
we all can complain. We all can complain. We can say this, that, and but you know what? Let's just be the example. Let's do it. And if it's not us, who?
Yeah, I agree with that. And if it's not us, what it's going to be more of a what, which is going to be social media. Social media will be their mentor. That will be what they're aspiring after, other people that they're watching, on other, whether it be television or, somewhere on social media. And
Yes.
so, I believe, Wonder Woman has superpowers, and I believe that all women have superpowers.
Yes.
So let me ask you, do you meet girls and they don't know what their superpowers are because we all know that they've got them, but
All the
you
time.
you find that they don't have a belief in
All the
themselves.
time. And you mentioned girls, but honestly, at our ages, I go speak sometimes to first graders. Sometimes I know I gave a talk to moms last week. I'm supposed to give one another one tomorrow. And at every level, there's phases, there's processes. But I always tell them, you know what? We're all wearing our invisible crown. We all have
Mhm.
our things that we do. We all have our niche. We all have our expertise. And even there was, you know what? No soy bueno para nada, right? They say, I'm not good at anything. No, you are. Everybody has their thing, but we've been, especially in the Hispanic culture, or depending where, and again, because again, I'm Hispanic, so I kind of relate to that. But it's always that like, oh, you're not good for anything, or what you're gonna do, and it's always the negative. But you know
Mhm.
what? Let's feed them. We need to feed positivity. We need to feed them. Yes, you can. Si se puede. You can do it, and start at an early age. You'll be surprised the people that have talked to me later and I realize they're like, you know what? I listened to you when I was in third grade, and now there's a senior in high school, right? He's like, really, you know what? If it wasn't that for that
Yeah.
speech that I heard you, and that's when I realized, oh my God, maybe it is something that I'm doing. My calling is here. This is what I need to be doing and do more of, because a lot of our youngsters, it's sad, but they don't have a positive role model at home. They don't
No.
have somebody positive in their circle. They don't have
Mm.
that positivity of encouragement, telling them, you're good at something, you're good at this. And a lot of times, that I'm sure you heard that, don't focus on your weaknesses, focus on your strengths. I tell people I love singing and love to sing, but I'm not that good, right? So there's a lot of things that you like. We need to focus on that. But and it's never too late. It's never too late to tell the mom, hey, it's okay. You're loved. Somebody cares about you. You're good at this. You're good at that. And it's
Mhm.
okay. You know what? You're a great cook. If you, oh, it's because I don't know how to do anything. I'm sure you do something. And I start, because I do a lot of the mentoring, a lot of the one on one. Okay, what is your regular day? This, and this. Okay, there you are. I don't even know how to do that, and you can. So I tell them that
Mhm.
we need to find something that the people that can add up to us. At a
Yeah.
young age, we need to help our kiddos realize what they're good at, and what their accomplishes have been. A lot of people say, I'm not just a freshman in high school, or I'm this, or I'm that, or not just females, but I know that Wonder in the Women in the Making is just, what? It can be an eighth grader, it can be a mom, it can be somebody in college. You know what? We never stop learning. We should never compare ourselves to others and say, you know what? I'm in the making. Jesus is still
Mhm.
working on me. I'm also a sinner. I've always said, you know what? I tell some people, it's like, I go to church not because I'm good. I'm going to church because I'm learning and I want to be
Yeah.
better. And I tell
Yeah.
them, you know what? We want, as long as you're better than yesterday, you're done. As long as you're better
Mhm.
yesterday, baby steps. And again, do not compare yourself to others.
Yeah, you can't because we're not built to be like anyone else. There's a reason why we have a unique fingerprint, DNA, right? So you're not supposed to be like anyone else. You're supposed to stand out. And a little trick I use at events that I do, and gatherings that I have is and I'll share this with my listeners again. And this is something you can share with youth that you're working with is when they're feeling down or having self doubt or fears, have them write them all down just on a piece of paper, set a timer for 5 minutes. Write down all your self doubts, all your fears, no matter what it is, just keep writing. You got to get to the 5 minutes because the first 2 minutes are very scratching the surface, kind of topical. But when they're really writing past that 4 and 5 minutes, now we're getting down to the real feelings. And then have them burn it. Just go outside, burn it. If they're younger kids, have their moms help them. Just set the piece of paper on fire and watch all of those disbeliefs disappear as quick as you had them appear. Then take about 5 minutes and write down all the amazing things that you're great at. What are your superpowers? What are you great at? What have you accomplished in your life? And just replace that negativity, that self-doubt, that fear with positivity in your life. And you'll feel so much better about yourself because all those negative things are deflating. But
I
the
love it.
inflating pieces are the ones, that help us. And it's just
I
a
love
great little exercise to do. I
Can I
even,
steal it?
yes, I
Because
pass on everything I learn.
I do the positive one. Write down everything you're thankful for. Write everything that you have, and but I had never done that. So thank you.
Mm,
That I mean, I
yeah.
love the way that you just not just write it down to kind of air out, journal, whatever you want to call it, but you burn it.
Yeah. You got to burn it and get rid of it. Some people like scribble it up and lock it away or throw it in the garbage, but I actually burn it and then wash away the ashes so it never existed in the first place, right? But
Perfect.
that is
Love it.
so strange how fear can overtake us. And we all have superpowers. What is a superpower that you have, Esmeralda? Do you know? Tell us what your superpowers are.
I know some people, I don't want to pinpoint something and I don't want to call myself superwoman, but some people actually say, how do you do it? How do you do this? How, I see you here, I see you there, I see you everywhere, and you do this and you do that. And honestly, I just point upstairs and I say, you know what? He gives it to me. One of my favorite verses that I have here says, you know what? I can do all things to God who strengthens me. And honestly, and some people's like, man, you're like the Energizer Bunny. I don't know. I just do it. And I think it's more of the drive that I have, the energy that people tell me that, they come to me because they wanted to, share something or so, you know what, never mind. I feel great now after I talk to you because of the positivity and things. But I don't want to call myself that I have this power or that power. And I know I talked to a young lady the other day and the mom called me, wanted to have her talk. She was unsure what she wanted to do to study or unsure if she wanted to go into college or maybe get a job. And she wanted to move out of the house. And so I talked to her, and literally like 30 minutes later, she calls me, the mom, and says, what did you tell her? And I said, I could have told her exactly the same thing you said, but guess what? You're the mom, so she's not
Mhm.
going to listen to you. But a lot of times it's just the fact that I give back and the fact that's what fills
Mhm.
me. That's what
Yeah.
fills me. And I want to say maybe just the time that I take to listen. I
Yeah,
think
that's what I
just
was gonna
again,
say.
just to listen. And a lot of times I don't say much. And they're like, okay, so what did you want me to tell you? What advice did you need? He goes, you know what? Thank you for listening.
Mhm.
A lot of times they just want to be heard. And we just need to, I tell them when I speak that God gave us one mouth, two ears for a reason. Right.
Mhm.
And just being there for our loved ones, being there. And I know on your podcast, when we talk, we say, you know what, treat others the way you want to be treated, be nice, stay humble, and just be that person. I think when you do what you love, it's not work. When you do what you love, it comes back. God help,
Mhm.
blesses you a hundredfold. And I feel I'm so blessed. There is so many reasons out there, so many times or so many reasons that I could have just to give up.
Yeah.
And you know what? No, life keeps going and there's a greater purpose out there. And I think once we find our purpose, everything else comes into place.
Yeah. And I think your superpower is having faith. And that's very hard for people because you can't see, feel, or touch it. It's faith. And having faith is a lot. It's a
Mm.
lot of courage, a lot of bravery, and knowing that you have faith that God's going to give you what you need when you need it.
Mhm.
That's extremely brave. And really, that's what superpowers are for us. It's about courage and bravery to have faith in the things that we know that we can do. And if we can't, that's okay
Yeah,
because we
no,
can
and
always
mhm.
figure it out.
Yeah, knowing that he's going to be there, that God is there, and then
Yeah.
regardless of what you go through, and I know I have a hashtag that I usually put, you know what, regardless of what I went through, regardless if I had all red lights coming to work, regardless if I had that bad news, regardless of what I went through, regardless of whatever it is, you know what, regardless, God is still God. God's going to help you, and there's something bigger that we can give back. There's something bigger that once you know your why,
Mhm.
you go throughout your day and have that thankful heart. That's
Yeah.
it. I mean, nothing else, no news, no bad news, no job, no nothing is going to fill that void that God fills.
Yeah, you made a wonderful point there. So thank you for that. There's a lot of golden nuggets that you're sharing for us and listening and having faith are two of those big ones. So what does a typical day look like for you, Esmeralda, as a mom? And talk to us a little bit about that.
I do have three kiddos, and yay, I have a teenager who turned a teenager, and she hated it. She said, I can't believe I'm going to turn a teenager during COVID, right? But my typical day starts literally at 5:45 in the morning, not to exercise, but I wish, right? But she's a swimmer, so there's a swimmer there, and so which needs to be at practice early in the morning. And my days have been filled with picking up kids from school, teaching courses. I do teach at the college level. I also have tried to have dinner, you know, I try and I want to be the super mom, right? But sometimes it's, you know what, it has to be takeout. But there's soccer practice to do, and there's soccer games to attend to, and there is phone calls. I recently lost my mom, so I try to spend as much time as I can with my dad, and try to fill up my wife duties and the mom duties and the professor duties, and also being that mentor that I want to be there. So a lot of times there's messages or phone calls and that I need to attend to more of, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? What do I need to do? What do you think of that? There's sometimes church, right? There's church where I want to be there for the ladies at church, and then you share a little bit of this, and I don't know. I've always been the one that kind of wants to help everybody and sometimes forget about myself. And sometimes I need to realize, I know this last Friday is like, oh, you want to go here, you want to go there. I say, you know what? No, I need to relax a bit. I need to spend time just alone. And I think once as women, and I think everybody out there, but as I really focus on the women, when I say once you realize and you're okay being alone, once you know that you need that alone time,
Yeah.
once you know that you need the meantime, whether it is a nap, I know for me it's a 15-minute power nap after work, or where it's the tea or the coffee. You reach that level that nothing else bothers you. It's okay for you to have lunch by yourself. When you reach that level of I'm okay doing this, when you reach that level that you know that you need that alone time, it's really good for women or a mom or just females to find that level of alone time.
Yeah. I think time that we have with ourselves give us a chance to reflect on who we are, who we want to be. And it gives us quiet time to listen to our own thoughts. And remember, ladies, if we are constantly serving and pouring into others and never pouring into ourselves, you're pouring from an empty cup. It's the scenario of being on an airplane. They tell you to put your mask on first for a reason, so you
Mhm.
don't pass out before you get the mask on your child. And it seems selfish to put your mask on first, but it's by design that you do that so that you are then breathing the oxygen to provide then to your children and those people around you. And if you're not breathing oxygen into you and you're not breathing life into you and your wants and your needs and things that fill you up, how are you ever going to continue serving others? And it sounds like Esmeralda, that one of your superpowers is also service, and you spend a lot of time in service of others, and it can be exhausting. It can be fulfilling and exhausting at the same time,
Mhm.
and you've got to have that self time for you to fill your cup as well.
Thank you. Yeah, and then I know when you mentioned, now that you mentioning cup, be the person that sees that glass half full, not a half
Mm.
empty. Because once you change that perspective and just seeing everything in the positive way, it automatically changes your day. It automatically changes everything that you do. When you have that positivity and the positive mindset, everything's gonna go well for you.
So true. So true. So, Dr. Esmeralda, tell us, you said you had created an inner circle, mentoring group from some other people. How can my listeners get involved more with the community you're in? Or and follow you on Facebook or somehow stay connected with
Sure.
you, your podcast information. What's the name of that so they can download that and be more involved?
Sure. Our podcast is Persistent Adversity podcast with Dr. Adame. It's out there and it's just, that's what it is. People share their adversities, how they persisted. And it's just more of trying to motivate others to move up and motivate others to motivate them to just let go of what fear they had, let go of the baggage, let go of whatever happened to them. Don't feel sorry for themselves, but try to do more and try to give back to the community. We also have a Persistent Adversity Foundation, which is persistentadversity.com. You can go in there. I know currently we're doing a blanket drive that we're going to go out there. And I know last year goal was to reach 1,000 blankets, new blankets to donate around the community. Now, this year's goal is 2,000. So that's what we're doing in the process right now. The mentoring circle arose from the need of, I felt like sometimes I was repeating the same thing, and I'm like, did I just said that? I said that. So what I've been doing is I talk to a youngster or whoever about either life setting or life advice or goal setting or time management. And I started recording, and I invite, because you know what, maybe this person needed it. And there it is. There is the
Mhm.
recording. Go see it. Whatever, one, two, three tips you want to. And the mentoring circle, I'm really thankful that there's a lot of entrepreneurs in there. There's business owners. There is engineers. There's doctors. There's dentists. There is real estate agents. I just reached out to my group of people that I know in the community, and they said for sure, for sure. So there's a list out there. You can find it on my Facebook page, Persistent Adversity Facebook
Mhm.
page, and it's free. So you have access to, for example, myself as my name there, my email, and what I mentor in. It can be engineering, leadership, and I don't know what else, but it's time management, things like that. So everybody
Mhm.
has their name, the background. For example, there's pastors there, there's teachers, there's counselors, there's a wide variety of people that give mentoring in Spanish and English. And just reach out to them. It's for free. Reach
Yeah.
out to them on the email and just set up a meeting with them. It can be Zoom, phone. And a lot of times, just people have a quick question. I know that I have people that said, you know what, nobody's contacted me. And there's people say, oh, I have so many people contacting me. So you go out there and look for it, and it's free for you guys to use.
Oh, thank you so much. We'll be sure to share that in our notes, in our podcast notes, and here on the comments on Facebook as well. And I just want to thank you, Esmeralda, for all the service that you do for others, for the youth, for being a beacon of light, and for sharing the adversity that you've been through as well, through your podcast and the adversity of others. Because when we've seen a woman move a mountain, then we know it's possible and we can do it on our own. and
Yes.
and when we see anyone be able to become president, or get that dream job they've been wanting to do, or be the first one in their family to go to college, then we know it's possible. And we have the permission at that point to dream bigger.
Yes.
So thank you for being that example to so many of the youth, and women our age out there for sure. We need more and
You're
more
welcome.
women like you speaking out and not being able to afraid to share our path to get to the superpowers that we have today. Because like I said, we were all created in greatness in God for purpose. So
And
we
it's
need
not
to be.
easy.
It's
It's
not
not easy. And
easy.
people see me as like this, you know what? I'm not gonna tell you it's gonna be easy, but it's gonna take work. And all I really say is when you have the ganas and you persist, ganas is like the grit or the
Mhm.
will to do it, anything is possible.
Anything is possible. Well, we're going to leave on that note. So, Esmeralda, thank you so much again for believing in others, but most importantly, believing in yourself and God. And for all of those of you out there today, I just want to remind you, you're the only you that's ever been. You're the only you that will ever be. So, how you pioneer your future is up to you. No one is coming. You must give yourself permission to live the life that you desire. So until next time, be you and be strong. We'll see you later. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.